Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam, Ustaz.
Okay, how are you? Semua sihat?
Waalaikumsalam.
Oh, iya,
How are
Ustaz.
you? Okay semua? Semalam hujan?
Hujan.
Yes, sir.
Ini okay sikit lah. Semalam okay hujan. Otherwise it's supposed to hot. Alright, before we start, anything from last class? Any question, any problem with the things that we learned last time? Or, with the homework questions that I give you? No? Okay, good. Now, one thing, regarding the group, according to the WhatsApp, I think everybody already has a group. Either, one person, I think the last person, if your class size is odd, normally the last person will do on herself or by himself. But you can discuss, okay? You can discuss with your friends, but the work must be by yourself lah. Or some people may choose to be by himself or herself. That is fine as well. Now, in case anybody who still do not have a group, please share in the WhatsApp, all right, so that we can work it out. Okay, so I hope everything is fine now. Okay, so the group, I think almost settled. So by this week or next week, I will have the classroom. Now, classroom, I have limited use on the classroom, just to submit your work, the homework, the quiz, the test. Okay, that's it. I don't know, I don't use more than that. Maybe I don't know. That means I need to find out. But I think, okay, as it is now, we focus more on online class. Okay, this class, the class that I have online, I do the class online, and then I have the recording available. So the tools of learning, I think sufficient. Okay. So today I'm going to continue with our discussion. I'm going to follow with where we left last time. Okay. So let's check. Recording ni mana kedok? Okay. Oh, ni. Okay. So where we left last time was, of course, I'll give you the question, but I think the place where we left was on the determining of the slope. All right, depending on the slope. No, the slope. We're talking about drawing the graph by taking the x-intercept and then the y-intercept. So that's where we stop. Y-intercept, x-intercept. And we found, or we learned how to find the x-intercept. Substitute y equal to 0 into the function, you will get x. The x would be the x-intercept. So you got the point. Okay, here, the example was 4.50. So the x-intercept is not given directly from the equation. You have to work it out. On the other hand, the y-intercept is the value of the b. Okay, so how do you get the value of the b? We substitute x equal to 0 into the function, then you will get the point y equal to b. So that's where we left. So the intercept is the value of the variable when the other variable is 0. So let me make it more formal, okay? So we start with the y-intercept. Here, we know the y-intercept is the point y equal to b. Okay, the point is 0, b. So what is it? It means that the value of y, okay, when or at x equal to 0 is b. So that is what we mean by the x-intercept. It's the value of y, which is b. And that value is when x is equal to 0. All right? Or, okay, we can say at x equal to 0, or when x equal to 0, y, okay, the value of y is b. Okay, so that is the y-intercept. Now the x-intercept, okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say b is equal to 30.5. All right, so what does it mean? It means that at x equal to 0, okay, the value of y is b, which is 30.5. All right, okay. Now the x-intercept, we don't find it straight away from the function, all right? So you have to do some work. So where x equal to 0, you find x. So let's go back to the function, y equal to mx plus b. Okay, now I want you to find out when y equal to 0, what is x from here? Okay, do it now. You substitute y equal to 0 into the function. Then you have to do some manipulation, some adjustment. Then you'll get x equal to some value. Okay, what is the value? Okay, anybody got it?
B defined by M.
Yeah, b
B defined by an M.
divide by m. Okay,
Yeah.
anybody get different value? So when y equal to 0, you substitute into here, you will get, okay, work this out. Okay, I give you the answer only. X equal to b over m. Okay, anybody who get different answer?
Minus b
Minus b over m.
divided by m.
Okay, which one is correct? Anybody get a different answer?
Second one. I'm sorry, sir.
It should be negative or no negative?
Negative, sir.
Yeah, negative. So make sure, take care of the sign, all right? You move one value to the left, to the right, the sign, take care. Make sure we got the correct sign. So the right one is negative b over m, right? So if you don't work it out or you got it wrong, try to work it out again. So you got negative b over m, that is the x-intercept. And of course, the value, the point is negative b over m, 0. So by the same concept here, that's how you describe that point or the value of x. So it is the value of x when, okay, or at y equal to 0 is negative b over m. All right? Or you can say at y equal to 0, the value of x. Or you can say at y equal to 0, the value of x is what? Is negative b over m. So that's how you find the x-intercept. You substitute y equal to 0 into the equation, you will get x equal to negative b over m. Okay? So it's not so straightforward. You have to work, you have to show the work. Okay, now let's use an example to get the x-intercept. So I already, we already have the b, 30.5. So let's say y, the function, okay, the example here, y equal to 3x plus Berapa tadi? 30.5 ya? 30.5, 30.5, 30.5, 3x. No. Kita tukar. Banyak enggak 3? Tukarlah nombor lain. 7x. Okay, 7x plus 30.5. We know that already, the y-intercept. So now I want you to find the x-intercept. Okay, do it now. 1 minute. By now you can do it very fast. Okay, what do you get?
Negative 4.36.
Negative 4.36.
36.
Everybody got that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we substitute. Okay, this one I will do. Substitute y equal to 0. Then what you got? You got 0 equal to 7x plus 30.5. Okay. And then you get what? You got 7x equal to negative 30.5. Then x equal to negative 30.5 over 7. So you got that. All right. So make sure we know how to bring the, the numbers to the right, to the left, where it becomes negative, positive, or becomes multiplication, division. Okay. So this is very basic. All right. Now, the point is negative 4.360. So you want to interpret. How you do interpret? How do you intercept? How do you interpret? How do you describe it? Okay, anybody? Based on similar concept as y-intercept. Cepat-cepat, anybody?
The value of x when y equal to 0 is negative 4.36.
Okay, everybody hear that? It's the value of, okay, it's the value of x when y equal to 0. And that value is given by the negative b over m. And here it is negative 4.36. So the value of y when x, the value of x, okay? The value of x when y equal to 0 is negative 4.36. Or you can say at y equal to 0, the value of x is negative 4.36. So based on what our friend has said, write down. Okay, write it down. Okay, write down now. You don't have to write down as per exactly what we say, as long as it get the meaning. Okay, the meaning is when y equal to 0, the value of x is given by, or the value of x is negative 4.36. Okay, all right, good. So you write down that one. If you don't write it now, you don't have time, you do it as homework. You go home, try to write it down. All right, try to write it down based on how we use the y-intercept. Okay, all right, good. Okay. So make sure you do that. Okay, write it down. Now, we want to do next is we want to look at the slope. So the slope, as we already learned, okay, last week, give you a measure of the steepness of the line. Okay, you see here one line. We just observe, one line is steeper than the other. Now, how do you exactly give the measure? So we are going to look at the definition of a slope. Now, for linear function, the linear function, okay, the slope m, since it's a straight line, all right, the slope m is constant. That means the slope here is the same everywhere. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the slope is a measure of, or is how do you measure the slope? How you measure the steepness is given by the change delta y over delta x. So that's delta, okay, the triangle is delta. Mana nak ngilangkan benda ni? Kat atas ni. Itu tak ada. Ini ada pula. Tak apalah. Okay, delta y over delta x. That is the change in y divided by a change in x. Okay, now when you want to find change, how do you find change? Any change, you know, how do you find change? How do you know the change? Anything, you know, anything in the world, anything that you encounter in real life, how do you get the change? How do you know the change of CDPA?
We have to compare it.
You have to compare. Okay, you have to compare, and then that means you have to subtract. You have to subtract one value from the other. Okay,
Yeah.
so you have to subtract. That means you have to have two values, right? So in order for you to find the change, you have 2 points. So given any 2 points, we call it x1, y1, and x2, y2. You can call the 1 point A, the other point you can call it B, or you don't have to label it as AB. Okay, just say maybe 1 point is A, 1 point is B, just for our convenience. So when you are given 2 points, and then the change is what? Comparison, that means difference. So it's equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. The new value, normally we do it, new value minus the old. The new value minus old value. So that's how you got your change. The change in CGPA from last sem to this sem is what? Your GPA this sem, take away your CGPA last sem. So you got the change. Okay? All right. So that is it. Okay, siapa cakap tu? Ada apa-apa? Anybody? Hello. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to yourself? Siti Najwa, cakap apa tu? Okay, so you got the difference, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So that is a measure of the slope. So the slope is given by that formula. Very easy. So now let's go back to our example and how we find the slope. So we go back to our example. Mana dulu? Let me see where we have the graph. I want to find a graph. Where did we draw a graph? Tadi draw graph. I draw only one graph here. Okay, so I got the graph here. Okay. But I want to start somewhere on the positive side. Okay, positive side. So they're easy for us to see. You know, first example, I want to have it both positive. Okay, I think what I can do, we extend the line up there. Now the equation is 2x over 9. Now what is this intercept tadi berapa? Ni ingat tak berapa point dia? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for convenience, say this is x1. Okay, let's say my x1 is here. So you got the x1 here. We have 2 points. X1, and then x2. So disregard the 3 first, all right? Just forget about that. So remember this 3 is different. So I think I take out the 3. So we just maintain it as x2. And then I will have another point. So that point, if you go by the label, you can label that point A lah. Okay, but you don't have to And then another point is x2. All right. 2 that will correspond to y2. Oh, I'm sorry. Not x2. dy2, dy1 nih. Okay, y1. Mana pula x2? Okay, so that is y1. So you have 2 points. x1, y1. x2, y2. Or you can call it that point A, that point B. All right. Now, what is the change in x? Okay, look at the graph. What is the change in x?
x2 minus x1.
X2 minus x1. So the change in x is this gap. That is delta x. Okay, the change in x. Now, what is the change in y? Again, here. Siapa tadi saya? Siapa? Anybody?
Y1 minus Y2.
I'm not y1 minus y2 because I follow,
Oh,
you know, the formula. It shouldn't be x1 minus x2. It should be what? No, shouldn't be y1 minus y2. It should be what?
Y2 minus Y1.
Y2 minus y1. Okay, because we follow the formula y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So if we say the change in x is x2 minus x1, then the change in y must be y2 minus y1. You cannot have y1 minus y2. Okay, if you want to have y1 minus y2, then the change in x must be x1 minus x2. Okay, so if you relate to the line, that means this is the change in y, that is the change in x. So the ratio of the change will give you the slope of that line. So that line, the m. All right, so the value of m will give you the degree of the steepness of the line. So that will give you the steepness, the slope. Okay, so delta y over delta x is simply the difference, okay, in the values of x over the difference in the values of, the difference in the value of y divided by the difference in the value of x. Okay, so delta y over delta x. So you have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So m is the slope, the steepness of the line. Okay, all right. Now let's consider an example. Let's say this x1 here is equal to 8. That line here is equal to, say, 16. All right, we have the equation here. Okay, I'm using not just any line, I'm using the equation, the function. So can you find for me what is x, y1, what is y2? Okay, some people find y1, some people find y2. And then you go home, you find the other point. Okay, quick. Your choice, okay? Some people want find y1, go ahead. Some people find y2. Okay, now you share. Okay, what is y1? And what is y2? Whoever get the value, tell me.
7.
X equal to 1, y1, 11.
7.
Okay, that is 11.
7.
Y2,
23.
23. Okay, is that right? Everybody got it?
Y1 is 7.
7, eh?
Yes.
Okay, make sure we get the right value. Okay, so please check. Okay, anybody who get different value, let me know. So probably our value here is wrong. So everybody got 7, eh? Okay, so here, make sure we know how to do the substitution. Right? So you have x1, 8 and 7, x1, y1, x2 and y2, 16 and 23. So now let us find the slope. Okay, let us find the slope. So I will go back to where our discussion was. Oh, ini dah. So you have 2 points, all right? So example, you have, let's say given, okay? You have given x1, y1 equal to, berapa tadi? Berapa poin yang saya dapat?
X7.
8, 7. Okay, x1, y1, 8, 7. And then you let the other point x2, y2 equal to 16,
23.
23. 16, 23. So these are the 2 points. So you want to find the slope, all right? So the slope m, okay? So you remember, use the formula. It's okay to write this time many times, you know? This formula you can write as many times as you can. Doesn't matter, it doesn't hurt anything, you know, because that is the definition. It's y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And that will be equal to what? Equal to 23 minus 7, which is y1, divided by x2, 16 minus 8. So what did you get? I get 23 minus 7, 23 minus 6. 6 divided by 16 minus 8.
I got 16 divided by 8.
Okay.
So it equal 2.
Oh yeah, 16 divided by 8. Okay, so you get 16 divided by 8. So that is equal to 2.
2.
So that slope is equal to 2. And of course, if I go back to the function, I'm sorry, the function is so far behind. If you look at what we have here, the slope was 2. Okay, so by using the slope formula, you should get 2, which is already known for the function. Okay, so it is 2, that means slope is 2, and it is consistent with the equation of the function. Okay, all right, any question? Okay, now, as I said earlier, the slope is constant. That means the slope is the same everywhere. So what I want you to do, I would like you to take 2 points, another 2 points. So 1 point is here. Okay, call this point again, you know, we just label it A, x1, y1. So let this one be x1. And here is y1. Okay, call it point A. It's okay, it's the same because you are talking about the different point. And then I want you to find the same point here, x2, and get the value of y2 there. So x equal to 1, x1 equal to 1, you find what is y1. And then x2 equal to 3, you find what is the value of y. And then get me the slope. Okay, go ahead, do it now. Okay, somebody find x1, somebody find y1, some people find y2. Okay, what is the y1?
-7.
Okay, x1, 7, y1, no, I'm sorry, x1, 1, y1, 7. Everybody got that?
-7.
-7. Okay, -7. Now get the x2, y2. X equal to 3. What is the value of y?
-3.
-3. Everybody got -3? Okay.
Yeah.
So by the same token, the change in y, okay, or the slope is given by the change in y. So you got the change here, the ratio of the change. That is the change in y. And that is the change in x. So you divide the two changes, you will get the slope of that line. Okay. And that is m. So find it. You should get 2. Okay, everybody got 2?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
good. So the slope m, okay, you still have to write delta y over delta x equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, and we already have determined, okay, we already have determined x1, y1, all right, and x2, y2, y1, x2, x1, or x1, y1, x2, y2. We already have determined that. So if you look at the points, y2 is equal to -3. Is that right? y2 -3. Y1 is -7. So minus -7. Okay. Divided by x2 is 3 minus x1, which is 1. So that is equal to what? So if you forgot, make sure you refer back to chapter 0. You have negative, and negative becomes positive. You have a negative, it also becomes what? 7 minus 3. So that is 4 divided by 2. That is equal to 2. So make sure, you know, the signs are correct. So it doesn't matter where you take the points. Okay, which point do you take? Doesn't matter. A straight line, we use the formula here. So you got the slope equal to 2. Right. Okay, good. So what you want to do next is I want to describe the slope. Okay, or in application, we want to interpret m. So the way we want to describe it, we want to describe it as the change of y divided by the change in x. I think I want you to do another example, okay, so that you can see something different than what I do here. Maybe we do too much of that one. Okay, I'll give you another example. So example 2. Suppose we have 2 points, x1, y1 equal to, equal to -5, 31. And then x2, y2 equal to 7, 6. Okay, find the slope. Okay, anybody got the slope?
minus 2.5.
Minus 2.5. So m is equal to -2.5. Okay, anybody else get a different value? Or do you get a -2.5? Right? Apa saya semua diam?
Minus,
Everybody got -2.5?
minus 2.1.
Minus 2.1. Okay, minus 2.1, not so much difference. Okay, the signs are the same. Okay. Now, anybody get positive value? Huh? Okay, anybody else get a different value? Or share your value, whatever you get. Is it to -2.5 or -2.1?
Mine is -2.1.
-2.1.
Okay, so most people get -2.1. So So we have two values, okay? Doesn't mean that the majority is correct, all right? So maybe the answer is 2.5. Okay, let's do that. So the M is equal to Y2 minus Y1 divided by X2 minus X1. That is equal to 6 minus 31. Okay, Y2 is 6, Y1 is 31 divided by X2 7 minus X1 negative 5. So that is negative 29. Is that right? 6 minus 31, 29. Okay, 29, 25.
25.
Negative 25.
Negative 25.
Kedua ni dah mata dah ngantuk. Negative 25. Okay, negative and negative become positive. So that is 12. 12.
12.
12 lah.
Yes, sir.
So negative 25 over 12. So 2.5 ke 2.1?
2.1.
Okay, 2.1. So the answer is negative 2.1. So here the slope is negative. All right, slope is negative. So the slope can be positive, can be 0, can be negative. Okay, so I go back to the graph because we just do this by run that example. So I go back to the graph. You have a negative slope. Okay, I think we draw it last time. The line will go like this. Okay, so that line, the negative slope. The line, if we go from the left to the right, okay, from x equal to negative infinity, go upward to x equal to infinity, the line is going downward. So when you have that, the slope is negative. That's what we have done. So if you want to go into more detail, what you can see, you can still use, okay, our example, you get the point here, which I give you the point A, x1, y1, and then I give you another point, x2, y2, point B somewhere here. Okay, so you get the ratio of the change, you will get the slope, which is equal. So that one, you do homework. Okay, do the homework question. I want you to sketch the line. Okay, sketch the line so that you can see how the line look like. Okay, so you got the 2 points over there, and then you connect the 2 points, you will get a straight line, and that is going downward like that. So the slope is negative. Okay, all right. So you got already the slopes. Now we want to describe the slope. It's the delta y over delta x. That is the change in y divided by the change in x. So this is how we describe it. The change, okay, in y 4. Now, when you look at the change in x, since we divide already delta y over delta x, so it is 1 unit, okay, for a unit change in x is given by the m, okay. Of course, the m will have the unit, okay, the unit of the m. So here, m, okay, m is the change in y for a unit change in x. So you can put it the other way, same thing. M is the change in y for a unit change in x. Or if, okay, or you can say here, you know, sometimes we can use another phrase, if, okay, if x changes for 1 unit. So either you can use for a unit change in x, or you can use if x changes for 1 unit. Similarly for here, you know, you can put the phrase if. So the M, okay, the M is the change in Y, okay, if X changes by 1 unit, or for a 1 unit change in Y. Oh yeah, we can write another way, you know. Y will change by, okay, this is another way. Y will change by M units if X changes by 1 unit. Okay, any question about that? So that is in terms of the change, okay? Change in Y over the change in X. Okay, so that's how you describe it. At least 3 ways how to describe it, meaning same thing. Okay, so it's the change in Y per unit change in X is given by the value of the M, okay, the slope. All right, so now let's go back to the formula. When you look at the change, the M, here, positive. Over here, I have negative. So I summarize here, the slope can be positive, can be negative. Now, if the M is bigger than 0, you want to see the change in X and the change in Y, for the M is bigger than 0. So if the change in M here is positive, in other words, the change in X is an increase. So positive change, okay, positive change, we say increase. We put arrow up, okay, the label. If you have a negative change, then what? Negative change, what do you call it? If your GPA go down, you know?
Decrease.
Decrease lah. Or you can use arrow down. All right. Now, if the slope is positive, you know the slope must be positive, and the delta X, the 1 unit change in X is positive. That means the X increased by 1 unit. Then what about the Y? What will be the change in Y? What sign does the change in Y is?
Positive.
Positive lah. Okay, positive lah. Because you have the slope positive. If the X increases, okay, positive increase, positive change in X, X increases, that means for the slope be positive, the Y must also increase. Okay, now on the other hand, if the change in X is negative, that means X decreases. Then what about Y? How does it change?
Decrease.
The Y will also
Y
have a
will
negative
also
change
decrease.
or decrease. Okay, so for the slope positive, the change must be what? Must be same direction. Okay, same direction. If the X go down, Y should go down. The X go up, Y go up. Okay, slope positive. That means the sign positive. In other words, if the change in X is negative, the change in Y must be negative. Otherwise, it doesn't become positive. So the change in X and Y are of the same direction. Okay. Okay, is that clear? All right. Okay, good. So make sure you are clear on this one. Okay, the increase and decrease, so that when you want to interpret the slope, given the number positive or negative, then we know. Okay, then we know how to describe it as increase or decrease. Okay. All right. Now, let's look at the situation where M is negative. All right, where M is negative. What does it mean? It means the M, we go back to the M, delta Y over delta X. So if the change in X is positive, that means X increases. What about the Y?
Decrease.
Increase.
Y has to decrease. Okay, so the change in y must be negative or y decreases. So here it's what? It's opposite direction. The change in x and y would be moving opposite direction. So if the change in x is negative, that means decreases, then what about y?
Increases.
The y will increase. Thank you. Good. So the y will have negative change and it will increase. I'm sorry, positive increase. So they move in opposite direction. So that is negative slope. Okay. If the x increases by 1 unit, then the y will decrease by some unit, which is m. If the x decreases by 1 unit, then you will have y increases by m unit. So now, when you look at the positive change, the negative change, the m is bigger than 0, less than 0, we are talking more specific. We are looking at increase or decreases. So, clear? All right. So in order for us to look at it, we are going to interpret these two values. Number one, you get m equal to 2. And secondly, I have negative here, m equal to negative 2.1. So I want you, all right, I want you to try. You combine, okay? You integrate what we learned here in terms of the increase and decrease and the basic concept of the changes here, all right? So now what you do, the change now becomes either increase or decrease, okay? And then we do this first. The change in the x, we make it increase, a unit increase, okay? So make it a unit increase. We do this first, and then of course we can always can extend it to the other way around change. So we try to do it increase in x, and then what happened to the y? Is it increasing or decreasing? And that increase or decrease is the m. Okay, now I want you to try to do that for the example m equal to 2. So do the example m equal to 2. Please describe that slope m equal to 2. Okay, we do it. I give you 3 minutes. Okay, this group, I have section 11 according to the list. It should be any new students coming. Okay, is there any new students? Because as per my list, that I have in Italim, I have 61 students. And now there are 62. Tadi 63. Seseorang tu mana pergi? So is there a new student who just joined? So if you are a new student, okay, make sure you join the WhatsApp group. You ask your friend or you get the, you get the link, join the WhatsApp group, and make sure you check the class for last week, because we already have 2 classes. Okay, so you missed 2 classes. So make sure you get the recording of the lecture. And of course, if you want the notes, you can contact one of your friends. Okay, so come back to here. Now, when the slope is equal to 2, how do you interpret? Anybody wants to try? So now, if you want to try, go ahead, try. I don't see you, you don't see me. So don't be shy.
Yes, I want to try.
Okay, go ahead. What's your name?
The slope
Apa nama?
equal, my name is
Fazal.
Faza.
Okay, go ahead,
Yeah.
Fazal.
for the slope m equal to the increase in y if a unit increase in x is 2 units.
Okay, so it's the increase. Now you have m equal to 2, which is positive, right? So if x increase, that means y will increase. So very, very straightforward. M is positive. So in other words, if x increases by 1 unit, the y will increase by 2 units, or the increase in y is 2 units for a unit increase in x, just like Fazal said. Okay, is that clear? All right, so increase and then increase. Okay, now good. So we say that m equal to 2. That means the increase in y is 2 units, okay, for a unit increase in x, or y increases by 2 units if x increases by 1 unit. Okay, good. All right, now I want you to describe the negative slope. M equal to negative, apa tadi? Negative 2.1. Negative 2.1. Okay. Very near value there. 2 negative 2.1. Tak apalah. So interpret the second value. Mana dia tadi? Ni. Negative 2.1. Okay, so interpret the second value. So here you have what? You have opposite movement, or opposite. No, the movement is opposite direction. Okay, anybody? So m is equal to negative 2.1. Okay, anybody? Anybody wants to describe the slope?
Sir, I want to try.
Okay, Sharifah, go ahead.
The decrease in y for a unit increase in x is 2.1 unit.
Okay, everybody listen, everybody hear it? It's the decrease, okay, because now the sign is negative. So when the sign is negative, m is less than 0. If x increases, that means the y will go down, okay? So if x increases by 1 unit, y will decrease by 2.1 units, or the decrease in y is 2.1 units for a unit increase in x. So when you say decrease, you don't have to repeat negative, because if you repeat negative, that becomes increase. So you don't say the decrease in y is negative 2.1 unit. Okay, that is wrong. Because if you say negative, or you say decrease, and then you say negative, that is double negative. So double negative becomes what? Becomes positive. So decrease means the negative value is already a decrease. Okay. Okay, good. So here, the decrease in y is 2.1 units for for 1 unit increase in x. Okay. Now what we have done, okay, what I've done, I start with per unit increase in X. But having said that, you can also say, okay, sometimes you can say for 1 unit decrease in X, then what happened to Y? Same thing, okay? So if the X is decreasing by 1 unit, then you look at the M. If M is positive, that means Y will move the same direction, okay? So you can do this also, all right? But we will just focus on the 1 unit increase. But in general, okay, in life, sometimes, you know, you also need to relate to a decrease. So what you can do, you go home, you practice on this one, okay, just to add. If you have 1 unit increase, then what happened to the Y? So you can do for the M equal to 2 and also M equal to negative 2.1. You do that. If X decreases by 1 unit, what happened? If you know, for these 2 cases, one is positive, the other is negative. So again, you know, movement is positive movement same direction, negative movement opposite direction. Okay. Okay. So this one, do it. Okay, this one, do your homework for your practice. Now the homework, because I you know, I have a few queries. The homework that I ask you to do, you just do. Okay. When the homework I want to submit, I want you to submit, not me submit. I want you to submit. I will inform you. Okay. I will inform you the questions that I want you to submit. But normally, I will give you the questions for you to do first. Okay. And later on, if I want, then I will inform you what question to be submitted. So this question here, you do for your own. Okay, for your own practice. The more homework you do, the more practice you do, the better it is. Okay, all right. So that is the slope. Okay, one more thing. I would like to look at, to make the comparison, okay, between the values of the slope. Okay, between the values of the slope. We know that the slope of this line here is negative is 2. Okay, this graph already macam rojok dah ni, rojok cantik sedap ni. Okay, I hope I can add one more line here. Okay, I want you to find, okay, the slope of another line. Suppose you are given, okay, I give you 1 point, x1, y1, point ni, apa point ni? Ni point mana? 0, negative 9. Okay, that's 1 point. Now there is another point, y2, x2, y2. X2, y2, kita hentam atas ni. Let's say ini 23. So let's say 325. So that is the point B. That's the point A. So that point B is 325. Okay, I want you to find the slope. Okay, do it quickly. The person who first get the answer, let me know, so that I can see how fast we can go. What do you get? 15?
No.
Cakap kuat sikit, saya tak dengar.
That's right.
15 ke berapa ni? Is that cool?
11.32.
11.15?
0.33.
3. 11.3.
Yes.
sorry, tak apa dengar, tak clear. 11.3 eh?
Yes.
Okay, good. Everybody got 11.3?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
good. So the slope of the line here is 11.3. So if I can make the connection, you got that line. So M here is 11.3. So you got one slope m equal to 2. And the other one is m equal to 3. So by observation, which one is steeper? Slope 11.3 or slope 2?
11.3.
So the higher the value of m, this one is obvious lah. The value of m is higher. That means what? Steeper line. Okay. So m equal, example, I give you m equal to 11.3 will be steeper than the line with m equal to 2. All right. So that is the conclusion. So this is only for nila m bigger than 0. Okay. So m bigger than 0, the value of m higher, the steeper the line. Okay. All right. Now, what about if the m is negative? As you know, if you look at negative numbers, if I have -2 and -20, which one is larger?
-2.
-2 is larger. Okay, -2 is larger than -20. It's negative number. So now we look at the slope. Okay, look at the slope. And you know the slope is just a measure of steepness. All right. Negative slope meaning the line is going downward, downhill. Okay, downhill. Now that line tadi berapa slope ni? Did we find the slope? This line slope is m equal to -2.1. Betul tak? So now kita cari satu lagi line negative slope, so that the negative slope will have a different value in the steepness. Okay. Macam mana cari? Anybody who has an idea? So kita cari the way I found -2.1 was these 2 points. Okay, I have x1, y1, -5, 31, x2, y2, 7, 6. Then I have m is equal to -2.1. So I have -5, 31. I have 5, -31. Lepas tu lagi 1, 7, 6. All right. Now, I want to find, okay, by making use of one of these points, another slope that will be different than 2.1. So, point mana tadi kita cari deh? -5, 21, -5. -5, 7, 6. Yang ni tadi kan? Ini 7, 6 tadi kan? Is that the point 7, 6? No, it's not. AB. -5, 31 sini. And then 7, 6 will be here. Okay. So let me try to get another point. Okay. So, sekejap. Oh, ni lain tadi kita buat, kita main hentam je tak? Point B. Tak apa. Kita buat another line. Point A ni 7, 6. And then I got another point 7, 6. Kejap. Okay. You find the slope of given these 2 points. To refer to what apa ni? Negative 2.1. So now suppose I have suppose I have x1 y1 equal to negative 5, 50, and then x2 y2 to kita maintain 7, 6. Okay, find the slope. Okay, apa slope ni? Anybody got the slope?
3.7.
Everybody got 3.7?
Yes.
So you got 3.67. So you round out 3.8. So the m, okay, I think we use 2 decimal point, negative 3.67. Okay. So now if you look at the graph, I just draw you the graph. X, Y. So reference point is 7.6 somewhere here. I got the first line like that. M is equal to negative 2.1. And then I draw another line like this. The M here is negative 3.67. Okay. Call it here line 1, call it line number 2. Now, if you look at the value of the slope, okay, the value of the slope, here M is negative 0. So which slope, which value, which value of the M is higher? Negative 2.1 or negative 3.67?
2.1.
Negative 2.1. Okay, so M equal to negative 2.1 is bigger than M equal to negative 3.67. That's the value mathematically. Now you look at the steepness. Okay, you look at the steepness. That means the line now is going from up down. Or you can look at it from the right to the left, going up. Okay, either way, which one is steeper, the line?
Negative 3.67.
The line number 2 is steeper. Okay, in terms of steepness, the line with M equal to negative 3.67 is steeper. Okay, then the line M equal to negative 2.1. So when you have a negative slope, you cannot say M bigger, steeper. Okay, in this case here, the M smaller is steeper. So what we normally do is that for negative slope, we just consider the absolute value. Okay, so here meaning absolute value. You don't regard absolute value, you disregard the negative number. So negative M equal to, I should write proper. For M, okay, for M equal to negative 3.67, In terms of absolute value, you disregard the negative, you got 3.67. Similarly, for the m equal to negative 2.1, absolute value, it becomes 2.1. So when in terms of comparison of the steepness, if the m is negative, disregard the negative sign. Okay, if you take account into negative sign, the smaller the number, the bigger it is. All right, but when you look at the slope in terms of the steepness, you disregard the negative sign, then you just consider the one that is, absolute value. So the one with the higher absolute value would be what? Would be steeper. Okay. All right. So that is when m is less than 0. Now, any question about that? So make sure we can differentiate, okay, between the steepness of the line and the value of the slope. Okay. All right. Good. So we already make the interpretation of the slope, and then we already described the intercept. So what we have done is 1.3. Okay, we are doing 1.3 today. I hope I can do more, but that's fine. We are good. So the slope and the intercept is in 1.3. Now, what I would like to do, I would like to look at application. Okay, application that make use of what we have learned so far. Okay, we have learned the slope, we have learned the intercept, and then you have learned about the linear function, and then you have learned about drawing the graph. Okay, draw the line. So learning put together, we look at one application, a very good application. So you go to 1.3, I would like you to read the example number 2. Now, example number 2 is on depreciation. Depreciation. Okay, read. I give you 2 minutes. Please read that thing, because in application there is a few guidelines. Okay, in order for us to relate to the concept, to the principles. Okay, all right. So read that thing. Okay, dah baca dah? Okay. Now, if you read that example, what is it about? First thing to know is what is it about? So that example is on application of linear function, correct? No. So what is it about? Number 1, what is it about? Anybody? You read the example, it's a very, very short example, so you should know what is it about.
Business property.
It's about a business property, okay? So you have a business property or asset. Okay, what do you know about that asset?
Depreciate.
Depreciate, because the problem is depreciation. So the asset depreciate over what? Over time. Okay, so if you look at that example, you see here the property is purchased for a price 122,880 and depreciated over 10 years. So you have the value of the property, okay, related to what? Related to time. Okay, so that comes from, or you can relate to what? Y as a function of X. So you have now a dependent variable, independent variable. Independent variable is time, because the value of the building depreciate over time. So time is the independent variable. And the value of the building is the dependent. So now you can relate to the y and x, or you can say just b and p, but we use as per the book, you convert into y and x. So now we let y be what? The value of the property. Now, when you look at the application, you have to be aware of the units. And the units are important. What is the unit of the value?
Dollar.
Rupiah,
Dollar.
ringgit, dirham, apa?
Dollar.
Dollars. Okay, the value in dollars. The value of the building is in dollars. Okay, now what is the time? The X is the time period. Okay, what is the unit?
Months.
Months or year or
Months.
days or minutes?
Months.
Okay, the number here given in months. Okay, they say 10 years. So you have to convert to months lah. So the time period is in months, and you have already the variables and how they are related. And you are given there the general form. Okay, so I ask you to relate. Okay, the general form we know, we should know. And then it's good that you write in the slope intercept form. Okay, slope form. So from the general form, I want you to write in terms of mx plus b. Okay, so we have a few more minutes. I want you to do this now. Okay, you rewrite the equation of the depreciation from what is given there. You write in the slope intercept form as per the definition, y equal to mx plus b. Okay, do it now. Okay, take your time. All right, you have to bring the x to the right, and then you bring the constant 4 to the right as well. Okay, so make sure we do it correctly. Okay, everybody got it? I want everybody to try, okay? When you say you did it, we will do it together. Okay, dapat. So what you do, okay, for y equal to negative, you bring the x to the right, 4096x plus 491520. Now you bring the y to the right. That means the multiplication now becomes a division. So you divide by everything, okay? Don't just divide one number. You have to divide the whole thing on the right with 4. So 4096x, I put the bracket to indicate that we are going to divide all terms here with 4. Okay, put that. And then you break out, okay? You divide each term by 4. So if you do that, what do you get? Negative 4.96 divided by 4. Anybody got the answer?
Negative 1024x.
Negative 1,
1024x.
1, 0, 2, 2,
24.
24. Okay, 1024x plus 491520 divided by 4, you will get
100.
122 lah. 122 80. So this is the form y equal to mx plus b. Okay. No. Other class at do you have a class at 3:30?
Yes.
Anybody has a class at 3:30?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll take 3 more minutes. Okay.
Yes, sir. I have class also.
Yeah. I will stop 2 more minutes. What time do you have now? 3:19 kan?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
3:19 kita start. Okay, this is what I want you to do. Actually, the example, everything is given. Okay. You just don't look at the example. You look at the example as a guideline. So you have to do. Okay, you have to do this. So tomorrow or tonight or whatever before the Wednesday class, I want you to do this. Number one, you get the y-intercept. All right, and then the x-intercept is given in the book. Okay, don't look at the book. You have to do on your own. Okay, and then number two, you draw the graph. Now the graph is already been drawn in the book, so just use it as a guideline. I want you to use another interval. Okay, interval or scale tu lain daripada buku. Different. Don't follow the book. Use your own interval. Okay, use your own interval. Jangan guna 20-40 tu, hentamlah benda lain. So, pakai scale lain. That's number two. Number three apa dia? Number three, what do you want? Number three. Anybody who want a question, who give me a question? Can you give me a question for number three to answer for this example?
Gradient.
Apa dia?
To find this gradient. M.
Thank you. So what is M? Okay. And then what is the B, which is the x-intercept or y-intercept? And then the x-intercept, which we already did, actually, we found this already. You interpret. Okay, interpret according to what we learned earlier. So I want you to do everything. I mean, try, okay? If you are not sure, you ask your friend, you talk with your friend. You do first. On Wednesday, we will discuss. If you don't do it, Wednesday you discuss. That means we don't optimize our learning. Okay, I want you to optimize the learning process. So do it first. Wrong, that's okay. Okay, to learn is to get wrong. All right, even after you know, you may be wrong. So mistake is common. Tapi janganlah teruk banyak mistake. Okay? Kalau banyak mistake, masalah pula. Mistake sikit apa lah. Okay, so learning is by doing mistake. It's okay. So do it. On Wednesday, we will discuss. All right. Anything? Okay, you have a class at 3:30. Okay lah. So I will stop here. Unless anybody has a question, we can. Okay lah. Share screen boleh nampak kan? Kalau tak nampak, mampu lah kita. Jadi sampai dah habis. Okay. So everything will be okay. Alright. So I'll see you again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Thank you, sir. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Wassalam. Thank you,
Have a
sir.
nice day. Have a nice.
You too, sir.
Doing
You,
homework.
sir.
Have a nice doing homework. Buat kerja tau. Jangan tak buat kerja.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. I'll see you.
Thank you, sir.
Alright.